What up, guys? I'm going to do a quick video on Cleveland something, CLF. So, obviously, you can see it had a very nice breakout today of a very big bull flag here. So, obviously, this volume spike was massive here. And that's a great thing. But we do have a red TD9 flash here. So, looking at the 1 hour, looks like it's in a rising channel. It could also be perceived as a bull pennant here. So we're going to have to see how bullish the thing wants to get. Excuse me. We had a red TD9 flash on the hourly with this pump here. But then we got our hourly close above. We've kind of had some declining volume, though, since this big volume spike here. So depending on what it wants to do here, if it breaks below this 1985 here, starts getting resistance, it could actually have a breakdown here, which would be perfectly fine. To 1891 would be the breakdown target of that. If it does break down, if it decides to break above this resistance of 2042, then we could have a break to 2136. If we look at it from this point of view and get rid of these TD9 flashes here, you can see when we broke this level here of 1762, it had a massive run and had enough power to break this previous all-time high here. I believe was an all-time high. Yeah, previous all-time high here of 1862. So, I mean, it can continue to run here if it wants, but it's a hair overextended. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's a little overextended here. We have bearish divergence as of right now. So, I mean, I personally would like to see it reset some RSI here. I think it's a little bit overbought there. And if it does come back down, I really want to see this 1865 hold as support here. If it does decide to fall here, or if it continues to run, then, I mean, we might end up having a bigger drop later. We'll have to see how this goes here. So, for me, I'll be watching for, some break one way or the other. But I am going to look for an entry position here. I missed this break, but I did notice it. It was up today quite a bit, so decided to run some charts on it and see what was going on. And you can see the moving averages all crossing positive here. We had a nice golden cross there, ran up. It's actually been running quite a bit since it bounced off this lower trend line and found support there. So it looks like it made a very nice W here, double bottom here, and run, right? So if this was a bull flag, let's look at the daily. So on the daily here, we still have a lot of room that we can run. But, no, we don't have any bearish divergence there. So, on this daily, we had a beautiful volume. Looks like we have a golden cross coming in here tomorrow, which actually might push it up higher. So, it could still continue to run if it wants. If it does backtest this 1871, 1865 area here, and it gets a nice bounce or confirms some holding of this as support, that's going to be a big, long play for me, and I would run that up for sure. Otherwise, I would play the breakout of this pattern it's in. But like I said, to me, it kind of looks like a rising channel here. And it could... I mean, there's no real signs besides the hidden bearish divergence on the 1 hour. So it's not like it's looking like it really needs to drop here, except for on the 1 hour. But it could... starting to roll a little bit on the 3 hour here. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much just going to be watching for this 1865 level. If it does break this, if it decides to backtest this pattern, that would be around 1761. So that's another level I'm going to be watching for as well. This was an inverse head and shoulders, it looks like, as well here. So if we, where would that, I'm in like this new update, so makes it harder for me to find what I want to find, which is kind of annoying. They organized this thing all strange, and it's It's going to make it harder for me to figure some stuff out. Okay, so if we were to call this a left shoulder, this would probably be the neckline right here. This would be the head. This would be the neckline. This would be the left shoulder. That would make sense, right? So now we can figure out if that was an inverse head and shoulders there, as well as that break, we can figure out the measured move of this head and shoulders inverse head and shoulders pattern. So from a break from that, the measured move of the inverse head and shoulders is 2264. So if it wants to continue up, it could hit that targeted move before any type of flagging out correction or anything like that. So that's that target. And let's look at the daily and see what the targeted move of this bull flag here is. So let's see. If we take a measured move from the start to the start of this run here, which would be here, we would be looking at a targeted move of 3187. So, I mean, this thing has room to run for sure. And it does look pretty damn good. I just really would like it to come back down here and show me for sure that it wants to hold like this 1868, or if it has a bigger correction there, which would give it even more room to run, which, it doesn't look like it needs to come that far down, but if it does, 1759, 1763, somewhere around there, would be a back test of this resistance line that it had butt its head up against quite a bit here. It hasn't really looked like on the daily anyway, like it back tested it. Back tested it a little bit on the 4 hour, and it somewhat back tested it here on the 1 hour. But okay, so like I said, so I'm gonna figure out if it's gonna break this 2040, 2050 area and get a hourly close above here with some support here, maybe 2 hourly close, right, with some volume. I'm going to see what happens here. And if it decides to break this 1980 level here, then it could be coming back down here and see if it can hold this level. So that's kind of where we're at here. So I'm gearing more towards this breaking down and then confirming some support somewhere, whether it's on this trend line or on this trend line, and then making its run. So that's something I want you guys to keep your eye out for. And if it does come down to either one of these levels and shows me that we're consolidating, maybe it makes a falling wedge or something like that, I might put an option call up in this thing. Depending on how everything looks, I'd like to put an option call. But for now, I do want to keep in mind here that on this hourly, like I said, we have bearish divergence there. And it could drop most likely to the 1768 level if it does decide to come down here. You can see that every time we've gotten in this area on the hourly in the RSI, 1, 2, 3, this will be the fourth time here, it had a pretty mean correction. Prior, it was hitting this resistance and dropping, hitting this resistance and dropping. So now we've broken both of those resistance lines here. So now we don't really have any resistance above, though, in the bullish case, right? There's nothing up here really stopping. This is uncharted waters, uncharted territories, blue sky breakout. So the only thing that people have is support below to go off of. They don't really have resistance above. So it can run as high as it wants on that side of things. But we have to still go by indicators and whatnot. The RSI is not just gonna, I mean, it can stay up in this 90 level, but I wouldn't expect it to be able to run too far with that, but we'll have to see. This is only on the hourly here. On the 4 hourly, we're just clearing into this 75 area. you know, I've seen it, well, we've seen it come up to almost 90s. So it could still have room to run here. So anyway, I just want you guys to keep this stock on your radar here. Don't FOMO in, of course, but we have to look and play some of these patterns and see if are we going to get a breakout here. Are we going to run up here a little higher? Maybe come back down, back test this, then run higher, flag out, whatever. There's a couple different things, of course. It can, if it decides to break bullishly here and then flag out again, it can continue to do that on its way up here. So just keep all of this in mind. If we look at the weekly, we got that nice double bounce there. So yeah, that being said, it looks like we're going to get a weekly MACD cross coming in here next week. So yeah, this thing's looking pretty geared up to go. You know, we're just getting up here. We still have room to run on the daily. So yeah, keep this one on your radar. This is CLF. So I'm going to look for an entry position potentially tomorrow, depending on how it reacts to that pennant or rising wedge. I'm not sure which one it is. It kind of looks slightly rising to me, but like I said, we could be looking to break out bullishly with this beautiful volume that we got. So, and all these golden crosses coming in, this could actually be trying to break up. So if it was a bull pennant here, right, and I'm saying that this is a rising, say it's a bull pennant, then we could actually have a little bit of a bigger move here. So I am going to be looking for an option call somewhere, whether it breaks down, gives me a better deal, or if I have to get it with some confirmation above, then this pennant, I mean, that would be a wider target, 23.36. If we want to do a more conservative target, we could call just like from here to here. As I have been noticing, like in the stocks, they really like to just like go by the conservative targets here. But then we would just do this, and we'd say next move roughly that 22.50, 22.37. Okay. Sorry, guys, something tickling my throat here. So anyway, that one's out there. Just remember, we have a red TD9 flash on the 4-hour and on the 1-hour, so it's very possible that this could break down here. But we'll have to see with that volume spike. That's pretty nice, and all these golden crosses. So could go either way. I mean, longer term here, I'm looking for some bigger targets for sure, though. So I'm okay with it coming down, so I can get a cheaper price. So I don't have to be buying it up in this 20. But if I have to, I will. So that's it. Just wanted to put this one out there so you guys can keep this one on your radar too, so we can get some winners, some more winners going here, because there's been streaks of losers. But the markets are looking like they're turning around here. So as long as it's not a fake out, let's get all this money going here, guys. A lot of stuff is setting up. Peace.